Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for this Lunch and Learn. My name is Crystal, and I'm the Family Support Liaison and Outreach Coordinator here at Family Partners. If you'd like to know more about Family Partners, we will put a link in the chat that you can click on. Today we have the Milestone House and Daria and Chris presenting for us. So if you guys would like to introduce yourselves, you can go ahead.
Hi there, I'm Daria Delserro. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator, Grants and Fundraising Specialist for Milestone. And basically my job is just to raise awareness about who we are, what we do, our rich history here in Dover for the last 20 plus years, and the services we provide for sober living to all of Morris County, but certainly beyond Morris County and throughout the state.
And then I'm Chris Lorio. I'm the alumni coordinator and I do outreach, and I'm also an alumni of the Milestone House. So I guess we'll kind of start off by I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and then a little bit about Milestone. Because like I said, I'm an alumni of Milestone, right? So before before I got to Milestone, I went to like treatment centers over and over and over again, right? I would try detox, I would try rehab, I would try to just stop, but every time it wasn't working. It wasn't enough. I would go back to my parents' house or I'd go back to where I was using, and my routines never changed. And I was okay with that, right? Because I always heard sober livings are a nightmare, or you got to stop using, and I just wasn't ready for that, right? I had my ego involved. I knew everything. I wasn't humble, and I was destroying my life. And I thought I knew what I was doing, right? I knew exactly what to do. I just had to do it, right? I just need to stop. I just need to get better. I just need to get a job. No matter what I was doing, it didn't work. Um, and then after having a whole bunch of, getting arrested so many times and dealing with so many problems, and honestly having a lot of people pass away from either overdoses or, DUIs and fatal car accidents, I ended up going to jail, and then I was sent to the Milestone House. And I fought it tooth and nail. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to see those people. I didn't fit in with anyone. It wasn't my cup of tea. But while I was there, they actually broke me out of my shell, right? That's to me the best way to put it. They were able to kind of get me involved in the community. They were able to get me to understand that there can be a different way. The community here is something I've never experienced before, felt before, and it's something that's really hard to put into words. But when I got here and I was able to do all that, that's when my life changed. Right? That's when I was able to say, hey, maybe I will try going to a meeting, or hey, maybe there is hope for me, or I can have fun again. And it took a few months for me to realize, like, I wasn't happy the way I was living. Because I truly thought I was. I actually got to a point where I was living in a Kia Soul with a girl, and we thought we were happy. Like white picket fence around the Kia, great times, sleeping under the moon. And I thought that was great. So then coming here, I realized like I was missing out on life. I was missing out on the best parts of life. Um And again, the process that they have here is what changed everything. So, and but the way that works, right? We have multiple houses. We have 5 separate houses, all in the same area, right? We're almost like a college campus because they're all like a block or two away from each other, right? And we work with Excel Treatment Center, but they're right next door. Because what we noticed is we would have people come here, and I was one of the people that did this, but I would go to treatment and live at the sober living, and I'd stop going to group, or I'd stop doing that, right? And there was a lack of communication. So them being married to Excel kind of made sure that communication was open and they worked together, and it was right next door, so it was easy for me to get to, right? So it kind of changed all the outlook and the views and the ways I can manipulate, because at that point in time, I couldn't manipulate. I couldn't say I was going to group because they could see me not going to group, and I had nowhere to go. Um, but the way it works, we have 5 houses. One's like a partial care house, and that's what you do right after like detox and rehab, right? Like if someone has an issue, they have to go to detox to safely and medically get off whatever drugs or alcohol they're using, right? You do that properly, and then you go to rehab, which is inpatient, right? You go to group 6 days a week, you learn about yourself, your coping skills, all that kind of stuff. And then when you get out, that's where that partial house comes in, right? Because what we've seen and what I've experienced and everything that's happened in the past, when you come out, you go back home and you're like, hey, I'll hit a meeting. There's not enough support, right? Or, hey, well, I'm going to do IOP 3 days a week and I'm going to start it in 4 days. That's not enough support, right? So, what we like to do is we like to get people coming directly to us from those programs. And they come to us and we have that house monitored 24/7, right? And we do things with them, right? Like we bring them to group, or we bring them to meetings, or we have comes in, excuse me, we have meetings come in, so we like to kind of just one baby step away from that inpatient, right? Because there is groups, we take them to meetings every night. On Sundays, we do something fun, right? Last weekend, we actually went go-karting, and everyone had a good time and they loved it. And a lot of times we let them do it because one thing that is crucial is having fun in recovery, right? If we're not having fun, recovery is going to be hard. If I'm sitting in my room doing nothing every night, what was the point? So we like to make sure people realize that. So that's what we do in the first house, right? And then you come to the next house, Milestone, the main hub, has everything by it. We have a coffee shop right here that's like completely recovery oriented, and people from the house get to work there. It's called the Good Bean. Check it out. I love it. Um, but again, people in recovery at the house get to work there, or they get to just hang out there and plan for what they're going to do or what meeting they're going to go to. But that house has supervision from about 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Right. So again, now you have a couple hours at night free, right? That next baby step, right? That's where a lot of people congregate to go to meetings, to get mail. If you want food, right? A lot of times we'll just get people donating fruit or vegetable, and we have it there for everyone. So people come there and hang out. And that's really the best spot about it, right? That's the hub of the community. So the next 2 houses, kind of up the hill, they're like a block away, but that's where you go once you're getting your footing down, right? Like once you get to that level of IOP, intensive outpatient, and you're going 3 days a week, but you're also going to meetings, you have a sponsor, you got a job, or you're getting a job, right? Where like you're starting to get your life back. That's when you go to those houses. And what those houses have is staff that live there overnight, right? Because now most people are out during the day, right? So you're going to work, you're going to meetings. So we don't really need anyone there. But at nighttime, if you're struggling or if someone's using, they have staff to say, hey, I have an issue and I need help. That's the best part about those two, right? But again, they still have to come to the main spot to get their mail or to check in or to get a drug test, right? No matter what house you're in, we always do drug testing to keep people accountable. After those 2 houses is our last and final house. We call it M5. It's gorgeous. I love this. I would move in there myself if I could. But that house, that's for like extended sober living. By the time you get here, you already have like maybe like a year under your belt and you're doing good, right? But you might just need some extra support. You might have like a DCP&P case that's still open, or you might be going through a divorce. Something that you're not ready to be out on your own completely, but you are almost there. That's what that last house is for. We don't want to kick anyone out. We don't want to see anyone like, do something that they don't want to do. Right? So we're not going to put a time frame on how long you have to be here. We have people here that after 3 months are like, all right, I think I got this. I'm going to try and go out, right? Like I'm going to go back to my place. I have a plan. I have a foundation. I go to meetings. I have a sponsor. And we also have people that have been here for like a year and a half and like, you know what, like I had to switch my sponsors. I restarted the steps. You know, the job just wasn't fitting for me. It was too high pressure, it was too many hours. You know, so we like to kind of work with everyone to make sure they know that they're loved, they're supported. You know, a lot of times what I hear and what I felt was I'm pushed around, right? Like I had to go from place to place to place, so no one actually really cares, right? Even when I was in treatment, I had to go somewhere for detox, and then they moved me somewhere else for rehab, right? And then they moved me somewhere else for the outpatient services, and then after that, I moved around again, and it's like over and over and over moving, right? I was never able to build a foundation. I was never able to grow a network, get friends, you know, stay at a job. Um, and I always thought it was me, and it was me a lot of times, but my situation didn't help. So that's why when I came here, it made a world of a difference, right? So between being able to stay in one place and grow roots and have people who really care about me made a world of difference, right? After I was here, like my family was able to get back involved in my life and I was able to start giving back to the community. And I'm truly grateful for that. And like I said, so now I'm here and I am also the alumni coordinator. So I get to reach out and I get to talk to everyone and we get to plan events, right? We do so much here and it's such great times, right? So today we actually have about 20 people. We're going to go to Horseshoe Lake and we're going to go play volleyball and we're going to get some ice cream and we're going to do a nice little impromptu meeting of just people here. Like I love that, right? Fridays we have a mandatory meeting, but afterwards we play pool, we go bowling, we'll do something to keep the community together. And a lot of times now they even do this on their own. All week they're talking about it. Hey, what are we gonna do this weekend? Or oh, I've been meaning to do this. Can we do that? Right? I love it. We also have bigger alumni events, right? So last year we had Court McGee, who's a UFC fighter in recovery, and we had him come to an event and share his experience, strength, and hope. And it was a free event. I think about 300 people came. It was a wonderful time. We had other treatment centers come. We had people from the community come. Um, Everyone's always welcome, right? And then we also have alumni events, like we do a barbecue in July for everyone to just kind of catch up, see each other. Hey, I haven't seen you since you left 2 years ago. How are you doing? I'm great, right? Like we get to keep everyone together. So we do big events, little events, right? We take people to axe throwing sometimes. um, but there's so much good stuff that happens, and I gotta give my hat off to the people that have been here for years. Mike Franks, that's owned it for 22 years. You know, Nicoletta, that's been here for over 18 years. They truly impress me because after all this time, they still have that compassion. They still care like they did day one. They haven't gotten numb. They're still people. And it's something that I've seen other people like lose over time. So the fact that they're able to care and focus and make people priority, it's truly a blessing to be able to work with them and everyone else that's here because everyone cares. Everyone here is in recovery. A lot of the people that work here are alumni because they just want to give back. So it's really just a great place. So if you have any questions, you know, reach out, but thank you for letting me share.
So I did want to just comment quickly on also kind of what we're seeing from our workings with other organizations. One of the things I really work strongly on is building collaborations within Morris County. For us, we want to collaborate with as many other organizations and businesses that we can tackle a problem at a lot of different angles, not just from our perspective. And so we recently presented to the Jefferson High School working on prevention with the DEA. And Chris and I we presented with two gentlemen from the DEA, and it was really a wonderful day. We did 2 series of presentations, kind of switching on and off. Chris told his story, and the DEA talked a little bit about having their finger on the pulse of what we're seeing here in the state of New Jersey. And I just wanted to share quickly, some high level idea of what that looks like. So it sounds like from what the DEA reported that we are seeing a large amount of fentanyl coming through New Jersey, and fentanyl being kind of the number one drug that we're looking at for deaths right now amongst youngsters, younger than 18, but certainly 18 and up. They talked about a little bit about how there's also the idea of prescription drugs that are produced in China that are shipped to about 2 different Mexican cartels and then distributed throughout the United States. And these prescription drugs are made to look exactly like things like Xanax, Adderall, things that people take for medical reason. But if we are not purchasing them from a pharmacy, then it can be a counterfeit pill. And what we find is there is fentanyl in them. And so someone will think they're taking a Xanax, and unfortunately, that is not the case. So I think it was really so inspiring to hear the DEA speak and for us to work with them, because we're realizing that prevention is our number one tactic in getting success in this world. And if someone is addicted, how do we get them to understand that when they leave a detox in a 28-day center, that when we say, hey, why don't we get you right to sober living, that's not punishment. That's going to be a great experience for them. And they're going to come out of sober living doing life one step at a time versus all of life coming at them brand new, sober and clean. I mean, that's just overwhelming to many people to have to go back to all of the demands of life. Let's say they're married, they have children, and now they have to go back to parenting and bills and work, and that's just too much out of the gate. And so what we have found is by giving people this extended amount of time sober, they are much more likely to stay clean and sober long term. And so that's always our goal here at Milestone. And we really appreciate this opportunity to start to put our name out there and let people know we have been here for 20 some odd years here in Dover. We've had a long historic story, and we look forward to building more collaboration.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions?